There we go. I feel like this one is similar to what we talked about last week with saying yes. Mainly because in order to say yes, in order to commit to something, you have to say yes. And because you say yes and you make the commitment to something, multiple doors will open. So, I feel like our conversation here is going to be relatively almost identical to what we spoke about last week in regards to that one. Unless there's something that jumps out. I mean, no, I've seen him working at the winery, so it's kind of, I wish I had that mentality when I was that age.
Love that guy.
Right? Like it just wasn't there. So
he walked with a purpose. You ever watch him walking?
Always.
He means it, you know?
He moves.
It's so good.
Yeah, the kid moves. So it's I guess the only thing I could stem from that is just like commitment, like what actually goes into a commitment. Cause I think people would say yes just to say yes and then don't realize what they're actually committing to sometimes. And it's like, no, you should always say yes, but understand what you could be potentially committing to and the gravity that it is. Cause sometimes, like, for example, when you commit to being a business owner, like, sure, everybody wants to be a business owner. And then all of a sudden you go, whoa, when I said yes 3 years ago to venture down this path of entrepreneurship, whatever you want to call it, but you go, holy mackerel, there's so many things. There's so many days where you go, should I quit? And you go, no, you're not going to quit because you committed to it. But
and there it lies. There it is.
It's so easy.
Because that when you do commit, you don't know everything you're committing to.
Yeah.
Right.
It's scary.
But the fact is I committed. So when the challenges come, your choice is made. You can't undo it because I'm committed to this and I'm going to honor my own commitments. Right. I'm a person of integrity. So if I say it, I'm going to follow through on it. And a lot of people, they go, oh, I didn't know I was committing to that. So there's my excuse. I found the excuse. So now I'm out. And there's a person without integrity, you know, and it's people we always say, you'll find a way or find an excuse. And being committed. There was someone I was talking to that was going to be going into like the armed forces. And I said to them, I go, make sure you commit before you go in because it's going to hit the fan.
Yeah,
and you're going to want to just lay down and cry.
Yeah.
And you need to look at them and say, I'm committed. I've made my choice. There's nothing you could do to me to change my mind. Those are the words you should say. So you hear it and they hear it.
Oh,
I'm committed.
Dude, I got a story about that real quick and then we'll cut it. It's so funny you brought up armed forces. I remember the first day of basic training. The reason why I say it is like, just to show the commitment, like anybody out there, I have a brother who's a total badass, excuse my language, but what he does now in the military is just substantially anything I could have done. I could never do what he does. He's so driven. I committed to the military because I had no other choice. Essentially, I was getting kicked out of my house because I failed out of college. So it was like, I was offered the choice, work or you're out. And I said, well, here's a military option. So I kind of used it to kind of shove it in my parents' face. And then I eventually was like, no, I'm actually committing to this decision. And that started it. But basic training, I'll never forget it. Leaving out of Harrisburg, 9 hours of travel, landing in San Antonio, Texas, off the airplane. So you have to in-process in the military. So the military has to let the public know, essentially, like you've been accepted by the military. You are on base. You are here safe. Like it's like a whole protocol you have to go through. So I in-process the base. Getting to bed at 3:45 in the morning. And I'm like, all right, it's going to start, like, gotta get my head goes. Reveille goes off at 4:30 in the morning. So after a whole day of traveling, a whole day of not learning this, 45 minutes of laying in a bed, I go, this is, and I'm like, yeah, I didn't even get any sleep. And when that TI, your technical training instructor comes in, he's like, I don't give a shit if you slept or not, is when I said, what did I just commit to? Like,
what did I sign up for?
So it's so funny how you make sure you commit.
Make sure you commit before you show up.
It's
right?
It's one of those whoa moments. Like, what did I get myself into? Still best decision I've ever made. So I hope it doesn't deter any, but it's such a wake up call. Now we could talk about it for out. So many great stories about the military. But yeah, no, in regards to that, when you commit, you're committing for good, almost like for marriage, for better or for worse. So like you're in it, you're in it to win it, regardless of the outcome. So just be prepared.
Yeah. You know, commitment, you know that saying from Zig Ziglar, he goes, we need to become meaningful specifics rather than wandering generalities. Yeah. When we commit to things, we become meaningful specifics because I'm committed to the specific and I'm not going to just kind of gerrymander around and just kind of like blow at the wind based upon what's challenging, what's not challenging. You know, you're committed. And I think the best example in that presentation, Ralph, has to do with it when a prisoner is committed to prison, when someone's committed to prison, we all know where they're going because they use the word committed. They're committed to it. They have no other choice. That's where they're going. We all know it. They know it. We all know it. So imagine living a life where we're committed to excellence and you know it and the whole world knows it. How great would that be?
It puts you on a weird pedestal though, too, no?
Yeah, I'm committed to excellence. People know if you ask Randy to dig a hole, it's going to be a great hole, right? If you ask me to give a presentation, I'm going to try to give the best presentation that's ever been given in the history of the world. I want it to be excellent. I want it to be something that no one would ever forget. So when we commit to excellence, more opportunities come to you.
Yeah, right? We should commit to excellence.
Right. Every day, I mean, make commitments. You know, I always say commit. You know, yeah. No one wants the wandering generality. No one wants a relative person.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We talked about that before. Like, you know, we want absolutes in life. You're in or you're out. You know, like no one will want a relatively faithful spouse.
That's wild.
You're in or you're out, right?
Yeah, exactly.
No one would ever hire a relatively honest accountant. You are. You know, we want absolute. We want the committed person. You're committed to this side, right? So commitment matters so much. You know?
Amen. Thank you, boss.
Thanks.